Well, I see that this is not Mayor Rob Palmieri sitting here, and it does to me look like Jim Piccola, so I'll assume that that's what's going on. James, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
And also with you is Brian Hoffmann. Brian, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, and I don't have anything on you guys, but Brian, what does Brian do? I don't know your story, Brian.
I'm the regional design engineer for the DOT.
Got it. Okay, that's important to know. And you're a good one to have in studio, Jim, when it comes to, of course, last week we had a group, one man in this case, but a group that is against the project, or basically said he's not sure that he's against it, but you have not been transparent when it comes to the Oriskany Street Roundabout. So talk about transparency.
I think that's one thing that we have been very forthcoming, with this whole project, the public meetings that we've had at the state office building, and then also taking the project onto the road. We went to the West Utica, North Utica, South Utica, and East Utica senior centers, showing the project in its infancy. Mm-hmm. And then now, actually last night, again, we were at South Utica showing the preferred alternative and answering a lot of questions there. And any of the business owners that have, or people that have wanted to know about the project, we've had individual meetings with them also. So
have you gone to their homes though, and had dinner with them and sat down and?
No, not yet.
That hasn't happened.
That has not happened.
Shame on you for that. Brian, tell me if you could. Now you're the specs guy. You're the guy. I see you have plans there.
Yes.
So okay. So let's talk about Roundabout. I do think the Roundabout on Genesee Street. I mean, just personally for me as a driver that drives through that, I kind of like it. I think it's okay. I like the one out at the base, at the airport.
Right. When it comes to roundabouts, typically our experience has been that there's people's opinions. There's really no middle ground. People either are in favor of them or they don't appreciate them. But I think as they're becoming more and more prevalent, particularly in our area and across other parts of the state of New York and in the country, they're becoming more acceptable, and people are realizing the benefits that they do provide. In general, roundabouts provide significant safety benefits for the traveling public, whether you're a motorist or pedestrian or a bicyclist. And for that reason, the department actually has a policy that when we look at reconstructing or making significant improvements at any particular intersection that has a signal, we will first look at the roundabout option, and unless there's a fatal flaw with that option,
you're giving incentives, right, for communities to municipalities to add a roundabout. Well, we've heard that. Is that the case?
I'm not sure about that, but but we. As a department, obviously safety is our number one priority, and that's a major factor when we look at any improvement. And this project here on Oriskany Boulevard is no different.
We did the one in Syracuse on exit 35 off 35 is a large roundabout. Back in the day, the Carrier Circle is what it's called. Back in the day, we did a little contest for tickets. The car that ran out of gas first lost, and the one who's still going, we did almost 500 laps around that thing. It was unbelievable. That's a larger one. You really can't do that,
right? And that's
sorry about that, but that was
an older
back in the day,
right? That's an older traffic circle. What we're
so do they?
There is a difference.
There is a difference. So that would be a traffic circle, not a roundabout.
Correct. There is a major difference because the old traffic circles were meant to be able to be driven at high speeds, and whereas a modern roundabout
people do go pretty fast on that.
That has
Carrier Circle
safety implications.
Got it.
With the modern
especially
roundabout,
when radio stations do contests on it,
right?
With
a modern roundabout, they're much smaller.
So by design, they're smaller.
Yes,
that's interesting. What size will the one be on Oriskany Street?
On Oriskany Street, it will be a little bit larger than the one at Oneida Square, simply because we have to accommodate more traffic.
Got it.
On the boulevard.
Let me throw some things at you. The traffic is going to be backed up. All that traffic coming from the valley. 5 o'clock traffic heading out, going towards the valley. Traffic is going to be backed up. This is going to be a disaster.
We've done the analysis, and there may be short periods of time during peak travel periods in the morning and in the late afternoon where there might be some minor congestion, but the analysis that we've done and with the current volumes and the projected volumes in that corridor, we don't foresee any major issues.
Because really, I mean, at this time of day, right now, with the way it's set up, you do have, there's a lot of traffic sitting over there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And Risking Boulevard's an important corridor in the city, in many respects, not only for commuters but for access to downtown. And in its current state, it functions okay for traffic, but there are significant safety problems out there, particularly at the Genesee Street intersection and at John Street. We did look at a roundabout at Genesee Street.
I know, but you're not going to do that there.
We're not
right?
going to do it there because physically we couldn't make it fit without significant impacts to surrounding properties.
But that one is that intersection is, and Jim, you can attest to that. Andrew, microphone.
Yes.
But I don't want to talk to you. I'd like to talk to Jim.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
Yeah.
Sometimes, Andrew, you and I are on the same wavelength. Other times, you're on the moon and I'm down here. Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Jim, it's confusing for people. That Genesee Street intersection can be very confusing if you're not used to it, whether you want to go up Genesee Street or down, but no changes to that at all.
Well, yes, there's going to be.
There will be.
Yes, absolutely.
But not a roundabout.
Not a roundabout. But again, at that intersection there with the new project, you're going to be able to take a left in any direction you come from. If you're heading north, you want to take a left to go west, you'll be able to do that. If you're coming from the north to south, you want to take a left to go east, you'll be able to do that.
So you'll be able to, so if you're on Oriskany Street, you will be able to take a left-hand turn to go up Genesee.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a big change.
Yeah. So the mobility,
that whole loop around, I think people end up getting very confused. And,
absolutely. The roundabout at John Street again gives you that mobility to go in all directions. And the same thing over at Genesee Street, too.
Got it. Okay. Andrew, you have a question. We're talking to, by the way, here, Jim Piccola from the DOT, who is always there for us when we have a question. And Brian Hoffmann is the guy when it comes to the plans and the specs and the safety of all of this and the design.
Brian, you mentioned that New York State kind of a little bit behind on implementing roundabouts. In states I've traveled to, Wisconsin, Tennessee, a lot of other southern states, seems like they're every 2 feet or whatever. Why is New York so behind on this?
Well, actually, New York has come a long way in a very short period of time. We built a roundabout at the old Griffiths Air Force Base over 10 years ago now, and in the Albany area, there are a lot of roundabouts. I don't know if there's any one particular reason why we may have been slower in implementing them, but other states, you go to Maryland, Florida. There's one community in Indiana. You can look at them on the internet. Carmel, Indiana. They've got roundabouts everywhere. It all depends on what the needs are. Roundabouts are not a silver bullet. They're not appropriate in every situation, but when they are a good solution, we're looking to implement them.
You guys laughed earlier at the idea that there was some incentive. Have you heard? You've obviously heard that before, right? You guys kind of chuckled at that.
Just talking about maybe it was the guy that was in here who said that the state came in and there would be an incentive for the city of Utica or for the state or for the county. I don't know.
No,
if it was a roundabout.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any particular program providing incentives for the construction of roundabouts. But
so the big roundabout conspiracy, not true as far as you're concerned.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But I will say that in this case with this project, we were successful in getting dedicated federal highway safety improvement funds to implement the project, but it had nothing to do with
the roundabout.
The roundabout itself. No.
All right.
Can I ask you? Also, guys indicated it was safer. Is there a statistic on it's half the accidents, or what makes you say it is a safer way than a traditional intersection?
There's been numerous studies. One group that's done several studies is the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, and some of their studies that they found is that overall the number of crashes goes down about 39% with a roundabout. But more important, with a roundabout, you eliminate the high severity type accidents, the right angle accidents, people blowing through a red light, they're getting T-boned. Those cause injuries and sometimes fatalities. And when roundabouts are implemented, we see a reduction of upwards of 89%.
And wow, that's a big number.
Yes.
Wow. And do we have any stats on the roundabout in Utica that in Oneida Square in terms of accidents? I've really never. I've never seen one there, but I'm probably not there enough to know.
Right, off the top of my head, I'm not aware.
But overall, the numbers are. Were you involved in the arterial project as well?
Yes.
So you're one of the designers, one of the architects that comes in and really works on the study, and helps design what this whole thing looks like. So I'm assuming you don't just do that here in Utica.
No,
you go across the state.
We cover a 6-county area.
Got it. So here's my question. I want you to be 100% honest with me. Do you probably run up against these anti-roundabout groups all the time, or are we a little unique in Utica?
Oh, Utica's not unique in that
okay,
respect.
so it does happen.
It does happen.
It's maybe
yes.
what we're fearful of is we're fearful of what we don't really know.
Right. Change is usually difficult for some.
All right, so we're not alone in this.
Absolutely not.
All right, well, that's good news. That makes me feel a little better.
And with the new Griffiths Parkway project, we're adding 2 more roundabouts up there.
You are up there as well.
Yes.
Where will they go?
One's at Floyd Ave,
Floyd
and
Ave.
the other one's at Hanger Road.
Okay, all right, nice. All right, so the bottom line is you really feel that this is going to be safer. It's almost like a little speed bump. It does slow traffic down a little bit.
It keeps it moving at the same time.
And keeps it moving. Does that make sense?
Correct. And that's where a lot of the safety benefits are derived from, is the reduction in speeds.
I have one final question on one of the things that this group that is against this here. These are a group of business owners that say this is going to prevent people from being able to get. It's twofold. It'll prevent them from being able to get to our businesses, and B, the construction is going to be horrible to go through over the course of 2 years.
Well, to the first point, the roundabout is actually going to improve access. Currently, if you're headed eastbound on the boulevard, you can't make a left to go south on John Street.
Right.
In the future, you'll be able to do that. So it'll be able to accommodate any type of tractor trailer, truck, any fire apparatus that needs to get through. That roundabout will be able to accommodate it.
So big enough too to handle the snowplows. I know
Yes.
the one on Genesee Street is a little small for the normal snowplows.
Yes, no, they can be
Okay,
plowed.
all right.
And then to the second point, obviously, any type of construction causes disruption, and we do our very best to minimize the amount of disruption. We provide incentives in our contracts to have our contractors get the work done as quickly as possible. Jim gets a lot of information out, maybe on a
Does a
daily
great job.
basis.
Yep. We always hear from Jim.
So people know what we're doing and when we're doing it. And so we do our very best to minimize.
I will say I never remember, Jim, and this is whether it's by instruction or just by your personal nature, I never remember such communication, as much communication we've had with this arterial project as we've had with you. And it has been refreshing and helpful to the community, I think, when you're able to plan your trip knowing, oops, tomorrow, boy, that's going to be closed. I just don't remember such communication over the years. So
thank you. I appreciate
it's a nice little compliment there.
Well, we hope to do that on all our projects throughout the region.
Nice. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. Hey, it makes sense to me. I'm not sure what that's worth, though. Good luck out there.